Welcome back. Dylan Rose here, D Rose Production, covering the ESK Motorsports driver Hunter Rose, heading into race week number 2 and 3. We got behind a couple weeks, so we're going to do races 2 and 3 tonight. So I think Hunter, this after the first race, leading up to it, how was your feelings? What was you feeling like after the first race? Looking forward to the May 6th race.
Yeah, the first race kind of gave us an idea and gave us a good feel and everything, other than the bottom and out feeling. And so we went back and got the car back up off the ground and went back and tested the Thursday before the May the 6th race, which was
the 5th, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we were supposed to run the cars tour that night. Was really excited about that weekend. Went and tested, and we unloaded, and we was off a little bit still. And as far as still bottoming out, we thought we'd got it up. So we made a couple of changes and got it built back up and got it right and got it off the track finally. And once we done that, tried to get the looseness out of it, because we had a little loose feeling in that first race. And so we made some adjustments, and we decided to make one last run. And that last run out, the car was all but perfect. So decided to load up that night, and we was going to come back that Friday, and was going to be a good night hopefully. And just happened to be a washout that Friday, so they decided they wanted to postpone it to Saturday to try and get it in, since the car store was there. And that's a big deal for the track and also us local guys, because it gives us a little bit more exposure than what we normally get. So we was ready and looking forward to it, and got to the track Saturday. And by the time I bought my race tires and everything, the bottom fell back out, and we tried waiting it out, and they decided to go ahead and postpone the event, cancel. I'm not really sure what they done yet. I hadn't heard an official word yet. So that moved us back another month before we raced again, and just had to go back home and sit on jack stands, unfortunately.
I know, looking here at the notes, like you said, May the 6th and May the 7th, both rainouts. And then you go into couldn't do anything the rest of the month of May, you head into June, and we got race number 2, which, to say the least, was a pretty interesting night for you. I was there on top of the trailer, so firsthand, but yeah, so we got race number 2 here, Ace Speedway, June 10th, Friday. What are you feeling like? I mean, going into it, you haven't raced since April. I know you're anxious. I know you're ready to get behind the wheel and get going, and especially after 2 consecutive rainouts. And tell me, what was you feeling? How was you feeling about it?
I was really ready to get to it and get after it, because the rainouts and everything just kind of put a damper on everything. And unfortunately, we wasn't able to go test that Thursday before, so it kind of put me in a bind in a way, because, as you know, if you don't get in a race car and do it, the habit kind of gets out of whack in a way. But once you get back in it, get a couple of laps back in, it's just like riding a bicycle. So
pick up where you left off.
Pretty much. So we didn't get to test that Thursday, so it was kind of I knew going into Friday I was going to have to make the most out of my first round of practice, because what we do in our second practice is try and prep and get ready for qualifying. So I knew as soon as the track turned green, first round of practice, usually late models go out first and we're second. So I knew as soon as the late models rolled out, I need to be in the pit road to get as many as laps in and get that comfort feel and back in the habit and the motion of everything. So we went out, and I think I ran 17 laps, something like that. Of course.
Is that good, or is that a lot, or not a lot, or?
I mean, for that to be a Friday practice and it goes so quick at Ace Speedway, that's kind of a lot. But for me, not being in the car for a month and everything, and not getting that practice the night before, it was kind of good in a way. So we got back at it, and of course, you know, rode around and got tire pressure and everything built back up, heating the car and then the brakes and everything. So we pretty much essentially maybe got 13, maybe 14 good laps in. So still not a lot, but just enough to get the feel back and know what I might need going into the race or qualifying. So, which the car was pretty much where it left off at back in the Thursday practice before the car tour race back in May. So,
Yeah.
yep. So we decided to pretty much leave the car alone and go out our second practice and kind of give us an idea of what qualifying was going to be like, and come in, and we pretty much just left the car as was. We done a little changing in it. Crew chief decided he wanted to do a shock and spring change on the rear end, so I think he wanted to mess with the left rear. I'm not 100% sure. I remember we talked about it afterwards, but he done a little playing around back there, and it freed it up just a little bit, but it was a good free though. So we went out and qualified and ran the fastest lap we ran all year as far as qualifying there, which was a 16:15, and I think it was a 2, and we backed it up with a 3, so the car was there and it was consistent, but it still wasn't where I wanted to be starting at, just because it put us back in 7th again for the second race in a row. So
You like them 7s, don't you? Hey, one more, that's a jackpot.
yeah.
But going back into practice, y'all normally get 1 practice session or 2?
We get our 2 rounds,
Okay.
and they're usually, I think they're about 5 to 8 minutes long. I'm not 100% sure how they do it. I just know it's like boom,
It's
boom.
pretty quick at Ace, ain't it?
Friday night racing is very hard. If you're not ready, you were behind.
All right. So yeah, you said 16:15, so it's a lot better than the 16.5 you had in April. So you 4/10 of a second right there improvement, which sounds good on paper, but hell, it seems like you still start at 7th no matter what.
Yeah.
So cool deal. All right, well we'll transition into the race. Starting 7th. I know the weather was a little bit warmer out. Definitely a lot warmer than it was back in April for that first race.
Yeah.
So kind of lead us to the green.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much had a game plan and knew that what we done in the first race, we rode and tried to wait the cautions out, that we couldn't do that. And I knew that we just need to, as soon as the green come out, we need to go, because 40 laps does go by quick at Ace. And so we took the green and had a couple cautions far away, and by the time all of the cautions started working, because they were multiple ones in a row, we found ourselves sitting in the top 5. And we, at Ace, you know, most short tracks have it, but some of them they don't do it. Some of them they still do the traditional double file, but Ace has the cone choose rule. So we talked about it, and we had a number in our mind of how many cars was going to choose the outside, or whether we go to the outside or not. And it worked out in our favor to go to the outside, and surprisingly,
What position would that put you in?
it put us sitting 4th, so in the second row outside.
So you went from 7th, caution came out.
We started 7th and got up to about 5th, and then that's when the caution started
So you
following.
pretty much gained 1 spot, but it kind of puts you on that dreaded outside lane here at the short track. Okay, so
Yep.
pick up right there, coming to the green.
restarts actually right there, and I remember the first one we done, and I was a little antsy about it just because I knew the car was a tick free, but running the outside, you can roll the car a little bit more and get more roll through the center and everything. So it worked out good. We was able to pick off 5th and stay in 4th technically, if you want to say that's how the cone worked and everything. So we done that I think 2 times in a row, and just the cautions kept on breeding, and we we found ourselves sitting in fourth, and I decided then, I was like, we're gonna stay on the inside from now on. We're sitting in a good spot, and it's winding down, getting close to the end. We're inside 20 to go. We're gonna take the inside, and we're gonna ride this race out, and we're gonna hopefully be in contention to battle for a podium, because that's, for a little team like us and me personally, the goal right now is to get on the podium. Obviously, everybody wants to win, and yeah, that's there too. But for us, we're just striving to continue top fives and try and race and get on the podium. That way we can get up there and get some more recognition.
So just to give a quick update, podium's top 3, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So top 3 of the race gets interviewed, gets a picture taken, and then they roll into tech and
Yep.
gotcha. All right. So we're sitting fourth, inside lane, probably middle ways of the race, maybe not even that far yet.
We're at that point, we had then got down below 20 to go.
Okay.
So we was probably about 18 to go when we took the green and everything, and just got back running. And the leaders, they got to racing, and we got 2 laps in, and the leader of the race, he got a little free and kind of caused a little stack up, and we kind of got the worst end of it, unfortunately. It was just kind of one of them racing ordeals, going back and looking at it and everything. It's not much we could have done different. So, it's kind of one of them lessons in racing, like I said in the first video. You got to live and learn, and you just got to move forward and build better from it. And unfortunately, we got the worst end of the stack up ordeal and ended our night. So that was pretty much the end of that. I mean, it was a good night building of what could have been potentially a podium that night, if not a little bit better, because
you was battling for third there until it went. Okay. Just to give an update, where did you end up finishing that night?
I think we wound up 11th after everything was said and done.
And I don't think we mentioned this in the first episode 1, but after the season opener race in April, was that what place did you finish that
We
night?
was 5th that night. We also finished 5th last year at Cook Race, so we had a string of top 5s going together. So that's what we were trying to keep going, but things are going to happen. It's racing. I mean, you just gotta move on and build better and come back better.
Got that. How much damage did it do to your car?
We knocked the radiator out of it, and then of course, pretty much the front suspension was KO'd on it, and body and everything. So just one of them stack up ordeals, and these front ends and everything, they're so sensitive. The least little bit to them, it's gonna tweak them and mess them up. And unfortunately, it got ours, so we had to call it a night, especially with the busted radiator. So
yeah, well, I know a lot of people were mad, which is understandable, but it's racing. We learn from it and move on. So going into the next scheduled race, it was race number 3. It was July 8th, and just like race number 2, Mother Nature didn't want y'all to race that night. So that would be 3 rainouts since May 6th that affected the Ace Speedway 2022 racing season. So we got pushed back a week to this past Friday, July 15th. We go into race number 3 on the season, and
twin nights.
That's right. It was twin 30s, 40s.
Twin 30s.
Twin 30s. So I know you was probably excited, make up for some points from race number 2, trying to get caught back up, get you back in that stride, the momentum, maybe get that streak of top 5s going again. Take it from there. I mean, what was it like going into Friday night knowing that you get to race twice for the first time this year?
Yeah, I was really excited to race on the 8th, and that's a lot of personal reasons why, but unfortunately we just had to postpone and come back the following week. And that was a date that I had circled on my calendar for the longest time as a kid growing up, going to the races and also crewing and working on them. I've always loved twin races. You get more bang for your buck, in my opinion, because you get 2 shots to win or get a good run or whatever. But anywho, just was ready to get after it. We went and we got the car back together, and we was kind of kind of anxious and nervous in a way because we didn't know what to expect going and practicing that Thursday because the whole geometry in the front end gets all changed up because you're putting new pieces on this, that, and everything else. So we went back and tested that Thursday, and we pretty much spent the majority of the day chasing tires, and that's been a huge problem this year. Nobody can get a hold of tires, and we're practicing on old race tires. And when I say old, they're old, worn out, they ain't no good. And we finally got the idea after figuring out we were probably chasing tires to pull my 4 race tires out of the building from the previous race and just bolt them on and see if that was the answer to our problem. And sure enough, the second lap with them tires on, the car fired right back off to where it was the previous race before the incident happened. And I was happy, so we decided to make a little run and give it a fill out, make sure it was going to be there and going to be right. And sure enough, it was. So the confidence was pretty high rolling into Friday, and we got there and we found out that our second round of practice was going to be qualifying, which was kind of a I don't know how to
disappointment.
Yeah, just a little shocker, you know. Just we've been single car qualifying all year, and I kind of started to figure out what I needed to do and getting comfortable and how to drive the car in that qualifying and everything. And so we went out first round of practice and just kind of got the car. It wasn't really much to fill out because we were on them old tires, but basically just get everything up to temperature and ready to go for that second practice because we knew that was going to be our qualifying. So we went out and we decided to, while everybody else went out at the same time, we decided to stay and wait it out and try and get a hole to where we could go and make virtually a single car run, but still other cars on the track. So we waited it out and got a hole, so we shot out and come out and made first lap, second lap, and made our third lap and was making our fourth lap, and that was going to be our money lap, I felt like, just because getting the tires worked in and everything and heat in them. And we went off into one and went to go pick back up, and as soon as I went to go pick back up, it was automatically on the chip. And just automatically, first thing I was wanting to do was make sure it didn't pop out of gear. And that was the first thing. I noticed it was still in fourth gear, and I was like, well, maybe fourth gear's done went out. So I decided I'm gonna throw it up in the third, see if it's the transmission. So I threw it in the third, and all it done was revved up. So I figured it was something to do with either the drive line or the rear end. So come in the pits, and sure enough, when we got the car up on all fours, we found out that the pinion had broke off on the rear end. So that pretty much ended our night before it even started.
Man, so that's tough going into twins and you break in practice qualifying, and then you got to sit at the trailer and watch twin races knowing you could have been out there battling with the other guys. I know that's heartbreaking and disappointment with the effort you put into it, and just having to wait it out, another rain out, and push it back a week. But we hate that, but hopefully you guys can get that repaired, get it fixed, and the next race on the calendar looks like it's August the 12th.
Yep, the Cars Tour will be back.
So is that the makeup possibly from the May race, or is this already?
This was already on the schedule, and they added us. We wasn't on the schedule for that night, but they've added us. So we're going to run the 12th, and then we'll come back and run again the 19th. So we're going to run 2 Fridays in a row in August, which I'm looking forward to, and hopefully we can keep the fenders on and keep the nose clean and make it through the 12th and come back the 19th with a good notebook and build off of that and get better.
Yeah, it's like getting back to the glory days of Ace right there with the consecutive Friday night, 12th and 19th. But we'll wrap this up with the sponsorship shout outs. I'm assuming same as last time, if you want to go ahead and re-announce them so the people watching can get an idea of who's helping you this year.
Yeah, of course, my sponsors and my guys, First Nations Auto Sales and Service, Cancun Mexican Restaurant, the Old Sharky's Grill, 87 Kennels, Corbett Ridge Grocery and Garage, Cotton Walk, PA, Buckshot Beagles, partners that help us too, Downforce Graphics Company, Carts Automotive, Sellers Racing, Hedgecock Racing, and then of course, you know, the crew, Thomas Scott, his dad Jerry, they pour a lot into this and a lot into me to be able to go do this. If it wasn't for them, I mean, I'd pretty much be sitting at home. So, or I'd be at the track, but I wouldn't be racing. So they do a lot for me, and of course, Barry Baker Jr. He's been helping some this year. Sammy Rose, and then of course you've been tagging along, giving a little hand, and doing this production thing too. So trying to get us some good stuff that way we can put it out there.
Cool deal. Well, we'll wrap it up. Let's recap D-Rose Productions. Hunter Rose, driver of the ESK Motorsports, limited late model at Ace Speedway. We'll see y'all, I guess, in 3 weeks. August the 12th, Ace Speedway. Good luck to you.
Appreciate it.